ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us on Thursday's edition of ADBN's flagship program, Morning Express. My name is Chijioke Okafo, and this is the show where we always bring to you topical issues in the news with in-depth analysis cutting across politics, matters of national security that have been quite heated lately, and of course, how our money as a country is faring. Well, before we have all the items lined up on the program menu rolled out this morning, let's join Beat O'Brien over at our news desk to take us through the first news bulletin of the day. Good morning, Beto. Over to you.
Hello, good morning, Chijoke. Welcome to ADBN News at 7. I am Beto O'Brien. In the news this morning, Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, says the current rise in fuel prices reflects market realities, urging Nigerians to appreciate the country's growing refinery capacity. Speaking to newsmen, Edun noted that the pricing of petroleum products now follows market dynamics, adding that prices have fluctuated as seen with adjustments by the Dangote refinery. He said the investments by Aliko Dangote in local refinery has strengthened the economy's resilience, stressing the need to support domestic refiners to ensure steady supply of petroleum products despite global tensions, including the crisis in the Middle East. Away from that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has noted Lamido Abubakar Yoguda as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria pending Senate confirmation. The appointment follows the elevation of the former Deputy Governor Bala Bello to Special Advisor on Political Economy. Yoguda, who served as Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission from 2020 to 2024, began his career at the CBN in 1984 and later worked at the International Monetary Fund. He retired from the CBN in 2016 after 6 years as Director of the Reserve Management Department. An alumnus of Ahmadu Bello University and the University of Birmingham, United Kingdom, Yoguda is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigerians and a CFA charter holder. The president urged him to uphold professionalism and dedication in promoting Nigeria's economic stability and growth. The Senate on Wednesday confirmed the appointment of Professor Taiwo Oyedele as a ministerial nominee of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, following his screening and consideration by lawmakers who charged him to prioritize economic reforms, improve the ease of doing business, and promote local manufacturing. The confirmation followed deliberations during plenary, where senators examined the nominee's policy direction and readiness to address Nigeria's fiscal challenges, including rising public borrowing and weak capital budget performance. During the session, the Deputy Senate President, Jibrin Barrow, urged Oyedele to take into account the country's vast mineral resources and persistent underperformance of capital budgets implementation in recent years.
Now, as a minister of the Federal Republic, what can you do? What will you do differently so that we'll be able to harvest the revenue that we need to harvest from our solid mineral deposits through exploration and exploitation of this God-given endowment. What we see every day, we see the Chinese coming to exploit these minerals, take them away to their country. Not only Chinese, other nationals also do the same. But the fact is that when you look at our revenue package, the revenue framework, the revenue profile, we don't see much in terms of revenue coming from solid mineral in the revenue profile. What do you think you can do to make sure that we harvest what we need to harvest in terms of revenue to our nation when you become a minister?
Speakers stressed the need for policies that strengthen domestic industries, reduced import dependence, and improve business environment, while urging the nominee to prioritize funding for security agencies through first-line charges to ensure national stability. In response, Oyedele noted that Nigeria's budget remains small relative to its economy, emphasizing the need for prudent and deliberate use of public resources. He also addressed concerns over the recent hike in capital gains tax from 5% to 30%, highlighting stakeholders' reservations compared with the global average of about 15%.
So what do I see? What I've seen just looking at Nigeria's budget over the past 5 years in particular is that we've had too many years when our budget seemed too ambitious compared to our revenue. We were not focusing on the revenue side. We were aspirational, which is good. But at the end of the day, I can say to you that today, federal government and state combined, we have nearly half of our budget, which is deficit financed. So what we need to then pay more attention to is realistic revenue to drive your budget, and whatever gaps you have to do cash management planning. You know, you've allocated an amount because an area is considered to be important. If there's no money to support it, it's as good as not having been allocated. In my role, if I'm confirmed by this distinguished Senate, will be to first try and create a picture of where we are, like a status quo analysis. In many countries, you even have quantification of what we call domestic arrears. If you are owing contractors, we should know it. We should say as of today, this is how much we are owing contractors. This is how much we have. This is what the gap is, and this is how we will raise that money.
Following deliberations, Senator Akpabio put the confirmation to a voice vote, which received overwhelming support from lawmakers, paving the way for Oyedele's appointment.
Oyedele, and I also congratulate the President. Your intellect is never in doubt. I want to also congratulate you for what you did with the tax reforms. Your educative rambles around the country helped a lot to douse tension. And your appearance or appearances in various fora also assisted to educate Nigerians that it was a good thing for the taxes to be harmonized. And I think it brought down a lot of tension. So now, Mr. President has found it necessary to elevate you beyond being a special advisor to now being a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well,
the confirmation is expected to reinforce the administration's ongoing fiscal and tax reform agenda aimed at improving revenue generation, infrastructure development, and overall economic stability. The Senate has also passed for second reading the 2026 appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory FCT Administrative Revenue Fund, aimed at financing the operations and developmental programs of the FCT for the coming fiscal year. Leading the debate on the bill, the Senate leader, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, noted that the Federal Capital Territory occupies a unique position within Nigeria's constitutional and administrative architecture as the seat of government and a symbol of national unity. Providing a breakdown of the proposed budget, Senator Bamidele explained that the bill seeks to authorize the withdrawal of 2.201 trillion naira from the FCT Statutory Revenue Fund to finance both recurrent and capital expenditure for the 2026 fiscal year.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the bill is carefully structured to ensure transparency, accountability, and prudent fiscal management. Among its key provisions are: the bill authorizes the withdrawal of 2.201 trillion naira from the FCT Statutory Revenue Fund to finance both recurrent and capital expenditure for the 2026 fiscal year. Funding structure. The appropriation is divided into two principal components. Part A, recurrent non-debt expenditure, which caters for the operational expenses necessary for the day-to-day administration of the territory, including personnel costs, overheads, and essential government services. Part B, capital expenditure, which is targeted at infrastructure development, expansion of public utilities, transportation networks, health facilities, educational institutions, and other critical projects aimed at improving the quality of life of residents.
Contributing to the debate, several senators commended the structure and priorities of the budget, particularly its strong emphasis on infrastructural development. They noted that the proposal reflects the pressing needs of residents of the Federal Capital Territory and aligns with ongoing efforts to enhance the capital city's development. However, Senator Tokunbo Abiru called for greater clarity regarding the revenue sources expected to fund the proposed budget.
But the beauty out of it, and why I'm attracted to the bill, is that out of this 2.2 trillion, out of this 2.2 trillion, 1.6 trillion is going to be spent for capital development. Good roads infrastructure, health delivery system infrastructure, educational infrastructure, and so on and so forth. This is really, really commendable. It's not a situation where you see a budget of 2.2 trillion, but maybe sometime you see 1.8 trillion or 1.5 trillion going to personnel and overheads. But the reverse is the case here.
So in total, in total, I agree completely, but there is one observation that I would like to bring out of this budget that has been submitted. As much as we have all of the detailed breakdown of the expense of the expenditure, and I think that this was what happened the last time when we considered the 2025 as well, which is repeating itself, is the fact that this budget doesn't have a breakdown of the sources of revenue that will fund this particular budget. Mr. President.
Following its second reading, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, referred the bill to the Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, and Federal Area Councils for further legislative scrutiny, directing the committee to report back within 1 week.
And also join the Deputy Senate President and other senators to commend the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory for making the country proud with infrastructural development. In fact, the APC as a party must also be commended for finding the right man for the right job. Because so far, the election of the FCT that just finished showed clearly that the people appreciate the work of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the FCT, where we won 5 out of the 6 council positions, chairmanship, and many other councillors. And so this is historic. This is actually the first time the party in power has cleared all the elections in the FCT. And if you go through the FCT, and particularly the area councils, you'll be amazed at the level of development. In the past, it was always within the capital city, but now development has been taken to the nooks and crannies of the various area councils in the FCT. So for this, we commend the Honourable Minister, Nyesom Wike, for doing a good job.
The President of the Senate, Senator Akpabio, also on behalf of the Senate, commended the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory for what he described as commendable developmental policies that continue to make the nation proud through visible progress in the capital city and beyond. Nigerian Army has reaffirmed its commitment to transforming the Army Medical Corps to meet 21st century global standards, emphasizing the vital role of nurses in sustaining healthcare delivery and supporting military operations. The assurance was given at the first stream of the 2026 Mandatory Continuity Professional Development Program organized by the Nigerian Army Medical Corps and the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. The training themed Public Health Nursing and Health Equity, Leaving No One Behind, is aimed at strengthening skills, boosting capacity and promoting professionalism in military health care. Representing the Chief of Army Staff, Olufemi Oluyede, the GOC 1 Division, Abubakar Wase, praised Nigerian nurses and midwives for their vital role in troop readiness and their global demand.
Nurses can no longer rely only on knowledge they acquire in schools. The landscape of medical sciences is changing with the rise of new health challenges and technological advancements. If we stand still, we become obsolete, and with the very lives we swore to protect at risk. I therefore urge participants to use the opportunity to sharpen their skills. For this reason, this program is not just a requirement for license renewal. Every module you complete here, every new skill you acquire, and every syndicate discussion translates into safer care.
Also speaking, the Corps Commander of the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, Innocent Ewuchola, represented by CMD of the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital Kaduna, Godwin Ogo, described the training as key to professional excellence. He noted that public health nursing goes beyond hospital care to address broader health factors, adding that the program would strengthen healthcare delivery across Army formations.
Your dedication, discipline, and compassion in providing quality healthcare to our personnel, their families, and other beneficiaries remain a cornerstone of the Nigerian Army healthcare system and a vital contributor to operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army. As you participate in the activities lined up for this training week, I encourage you to fully utilize the opportunity to enhance your knowledge, sharpen your clinical skills, and strengthen teamwork in the delivery of efficient and patient-centered care. The role of nurses in military medicine cannot be overstated, particularly in supporting operations, emergency response, and routine healthcare services.
The Director of Nursing Services of the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, Colonel Juliana Awuto, said the program reflects the profession and moral responsibility of military nurses to promote preventive and community-focused healthcare. She encouraged participants to take full advantage of the training to enhance their skills and contribute improving healthcare services within the military.
Within the military system, beyond bedside practice, we are called to promote health, prevent diseases, reduce disparity, and strengthen resilience among our troops, their families, and wider community where we serve. Health equity demands that we ensure access to quality care regardless of rank, location, gender, socioeconomic status, or professional deployment. In the Army environment, this means reaching personnel in remote posting, those on active operations, vulnerable families, and individuals facing mental and physical health challenges.
The week-long program brings together both military and civilian nurses, 7 within the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, to strengthen capacity in public health practice, leadership, and patient-centered care within the military healthcare system. Military wives have called for greater investment in women, describing them as a vital pillar supporting families, communities, and the nation's armed forces. The call came during the activities marking the 2026 International Women's Day. The event was organized by the Armed Forces Command and Staff College Officers Wives Association in Jaji, bringing together wives of military officers and women within the barracks community to reflect on the role of women in strengthening families and national development. Speaking on behalf of the President of the Defense and Police Officers Wives Association, Merena Oluyede, Mrs. Mekafia Phillips said investing in women is key to building resilient families and communities, noting that the 2026 theme, Give to Gain, underscores the need to provide women with opportunities support and resources for collective growth.
Investing in women means nurturing leadership, building confidence, supporting businesses, promoting education, and creating opportunities for growth. These investments do not only benefit individual women, they strengthen families, uplift communities, and contribute meaningfully to national development. Women play vital roles as leaders, professionals, mothers, and pillars of support to those who serve our country, and of course, a stronger society.
Keynote speakers at the event during a presentation titled "Encourage Women to Invest in Education, Entrepreneurship and Personal Development to Strengthen Their Economic Independence and Leadership Capacity." They also urged women to build strong support networks that promote unity, resilience, and shared growth.
Your roles as caregivers, homemakers, and professionals are vital to our society because as wives, partners, mothers, and women, your compassion and love are the glue that hold the families, the military families together in the toughest of times.
Also speaking, the coordinator of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College Officers' Wives Association, Mrs. Ekene Shogbamu, described the celebration as an opportunity to recognize the courage and resilience and contributions of women in the barracks community. She emphasized the importance of sharing knowledge, time, support, and kindness in building stronger families and communities.
Today, we come together to celebrate the strength, courage, and resilience of women and to reflect on this year's theme, Give to Gain. When we give our time, our support, our knowledge, and our kindness to others, we do not lose anything. Instead, we gain stronger families, stronger communities, and builders of peace. When we uplift, encourage one another, and stand together, we all grow stronger. Today is not just a day of celebration, but also a day of commitment. A commitment to continue giving our best to our families, our communities, and to one another. Because truly, when women give, everyone gains.
The participants insisted on giving women a stronger voice in education, healthcare, and decision-making processes to enable them contribute more effectively to society. The International Women's Day celebration also featured interactive sessions and shared experiences aimed at inspiring women within the military community to continue contributing positively to their families, communities, and national development. UN Women's Country Representative in Nigeria, Ms. Beatrice Eyong, has urged the Trade Union Congress to continue to champion the rights of women, warning against dangers of leaving women behind. Ms. Eyong gave the charge at the 2026 International Women's Day celebration hosted by the TUC Women's Commission in Abuja. The theme for the two-day event, which drew members of the Commission from all over the country, is Empowering Women, the Path to Equal Rights and Economic Justice. Ms. Eyong highlighted the benefits women bring to the table when given the opportunity.
But the UN global theme is rights, justice, action for all women and girls. And there's another theme that is running, which is Give to Gain. But we say these two themes, they talk of the same story. If you give women anything you give to women, they will multiply it. Rights, they come from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And that declaration recognizes the fact that it is through these rights, justice, that we can have freedom and peace within the world. And it also recognizes that everyone is born free and equal. But what we have seen is that there are gender inequalities. And gender inequalities are injustices that must be corrected.
Keynote speaker and country rep for the International Labour Organization ILO for Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, Ms. Vanessa Fala, in her address, lamented that women's participation in certain sections of the labor market remains disappointing. She noted that without deliberate policies, inequality will deepen, and appealed to government and organizations to strengthen market institutions to ensure women have equal access to opportunities.
Without deliberate policies, they may also deepen existing inequalities. So this theme, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, my comrades, sisters, it presents several challenges for us. Number one, we need to continue to address structural barriers, including some of the discriminatory norms, occupational segregation, and unequal care responsibilities. And I'm very happy, and of course, my sister Beatrice from UN Women, we continue to collaborate in order to implement targeted and meaningful intervention. Secondly, we also have to strengthen labor market institutions to ensure that women have access to social protection.
On her part, the national chairperson of the Trade Union Congress Women's Commission, Comrade Esther Amadou, highlighted the importance of women's empowerment and pointed out the need to dismantle structural inequalities that has held women back, as she called for equal pay for equal work.
The struggle for women's rights is inseparable from the fight for justice, and this justice must be holistic, embracing both legal rights and economic opportunities. In Nigeria, we have made significant strides. The efforts of the Trade Union Congress Women Commission stand as a testament to what collective action can achieve. We have fought tirelessly for the inclusion of women in decision-making processes, that have championed policies that aimed to close the gender pay gap, promote women's entrepreneurship, and ensure equal access to political representation. However, much work remains to be done. The
Managing Director, Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, Barrister Oluwaseun Faleye, and the key partner of the event, underscored the need for sustained advocacy and supportive action for leaders at all levels. Faleye stressed that economic justice is necessary and advocated the implementation of workers' compensation schemes in the interest of women especially. The event featured panel discussions on the general theme and slogan of the International Women's Day, cultural dance display, and other side attractions.
As we celebrate today, let us reaffirm our shared commitment to building a future where every woman has the opportunity to work in a safe environment, earn a fair income, and participate fully in decision-making processes that shape our economy and society. And I use this opportunity really to call on women in workplaces to continually advocate for employers to adopt the employee compensation scheme as a form of social protection that further build this resilience in our workplaces, in our productivity, and in our communities. Because when vulnerabilities occur, it is really the women that bear the brunt of the challenges that.
Federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening academic scholarship by supporting the production of locally authored textbooks for tertiary institutions. Minister of Education, Dr. Tunja Lausa, stated this during the public presentation of 72 Tertiary Education Trust Fund sponsored academic textbooks in Abuja. He said the initiative encourages Nigerian scholars to produce quality learning materials, reflecting local realities, particularly in science, technology, and engineering, while reducing reliance on foreign academic publications.
You've done things, you've done several things good. Things that will encourage, will help develop a country. Knowledge is the biggest thing any nation can have. And you've taken your time, you've sacrificed your personal comfort to publish these books in areas of medicine, pharmacy, literature, law, engineering and technology, agriculture and environment studies, economics, management sciences, tourism, entrepreneurship, vocational studies, and research methodology.
Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Echono, says the project was introduced to address the shortage of quality tertiary level textbooks in Nigeria. He noted that the initiative will strengthen teaching, learning and research in higher institutions through relevant academic resources. Echono added that 72 titles were newly authored under the scheme, while 10 others by renowned scholars were adopted, bringing the total number of textbooks published by TED Fund to 202, with more under evaluation.
Beyond the issue of limited, there has also been a compelling need to improve the quality of locally produced academic textbooks. It was this concern that led to the establishment of a tertiary TED Fund's Higher Education Book Development Intervention Project, a strategic initiative designed to bridge this gap and promote the development of credible, locally authored academic resources. The TED Fund Board of Trustees, way back in 2009, established the Technical Advisory Group, or what we fondly call the TAG, comprising distinguished academic experts drawn from all the 6 geopolitical zones of our country. The group also includes representatives from the major academic unions, including ASU, ASUP, and COESU, as well as representatives of the key regulatory bodies, the National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, and the National Commission for Colleges of Education.
A 3-man panel led by Justice Biaobele Abraham Georgewell of the Court of Appeal sitting in Ibadan has adjourned the case challenging the legitimacy of the People's Democratic Party convention held in November on the 15th and 16th, 2025. Shardine, that is, indefinite. Justice Georgewell also directed legal representatives from all sides of the matter to resolve their internal crisis amicably, putting into consideration guidelines put forward by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), which is in progress. The appellate court also formally granted them leave to resolve their matters amicably. It, however, stated that should all parties fail to resolve accordingly, the court would step in to take a definite position on the matter. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Sunday Ame, who spoke on behalf of all councils, briefed newsmen on their resolutions.
The parties have evinced their willingness to settle, and the court had adjourned the matter sine die for the parties to attempt settlement, and if they do, report back to court. So on that note, we'll make no further comments because same may be able to prejudice this evinced settlement.
It will be recalled that the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja had invalidated the PDP elective convention, which saw the emergence of Kaburu Turaki SAN's emergence as national chairman.
Senator is indefinitely until further notice too. That is Senator. About INEC timetable taking and the rest of them, this will be going into what the parties may discuss. So no comment on that.
You're watching ADBN News at 7. Stay with us for more news stories and reports from the foreign scenes and sports desk after the break.
The overall function of the parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes the federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Well, thanks for staying with us on ADBN News this morning. Now, the rest of the news. The administration of Donald Trump plans to end the temporary protected status of Somali nationals next week, a decision that could affect about 1,100 people currently living and working legally in the United States. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security says conditions in Somalia have improved enough to justify ending the protection. However, 4 Somali nationals and 2 migrant rights groups have filed a lawsuit arguing the move is unlawful and not based on the reality of ongoing conflicts involving Al-Shabaab militants. Advocacy groups, including Muslim advocates and African communities together, say the decision unfairly targets Somalian migrants. The policy change is currently on hold as court cases proceed, while immigration enforcement actions have triggered protests in several U.S. states. And now to news from the sports desk. Real Madrid captain Federico Valverde scored a sensational first-half hat-trick in his side's 3-0 victory over Manchester City. The UEFA Champions League first-leg triumph saw Wednesday night spectacle at the Bernabeu, where Federico Valverde delivered a superb performance troubling City's defense throughout the contest. Despite moments of attacking threats from Pep Guardiola's side, the Lynx side were repeatedly exposed at the back. Elsewhere, PSG will carry a 3-goal advantage into the second leg in London after defeating Chelsea 5-2 in an entertaining last 16 encounter. In Germany, Kai Havertz scored a late penalty against his former club Bayern Leverkusen as Arsenal salvaged a 1-1 draw in the first leg of the first round of 16. The result ended Arsenal's perfect record in the competition this season and leaves the tie finely balanced. Meanwhile, in Norway, Bodo Glimt recorded a 5th successive victory in the Champions League proper after cruising to a 3-0 victory over Sporting CP in the first leg clash. On the home front, Edo State has emerged overall winner of the 2026 Niger Delta Development Commission Games, with Governor Monday Okpebolo pledging continued investment in sports development. Speaking at a reception in Benin City, the governor described the victory as a reflection of the state's rich sporting talent and reaffirmed a 20 million naira reward for the athletes. Team Edo topped the medals tables with 52 gold, 34 silver and 25 bronze medals, a total of 111, defeating 8 other participating Niger Delta states and securing the state's first major multi-sport tournament win in about 24 years.
You have made Edo very, very proud, and we are proud of you. Your talent is something that we need to harness. We need to build on it. We need to make sure that we invest in you so that we get to the heights.
Your leadership and support for sports development in Edo State, particularly the policy direction of grassroots development, has started yielding remarkable results. And the second Niger Delta Games triumph stands as a clear testament to the fact that your vision for sports in our dear state is already leading us to the path of sustainable development and progress in such a way that few years from now, Edo will regain its lost glory to bounce back as Nigerian fortress in sports.
I was so excited when I won the medal, but it was a training. It is not really easy to win the medal, but I'm grateful. I was so excited when I won the medal.
And when I won the gold, I was very happy. My coach, everybody was very excited.
In other sport news, Nigerian women's national basketball team, the Tigress, made an impressive start to their qualifying campaign at the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament in France, recording a dominant 70-37 victory over Colombia on Wednesday. The African champions established early control, taking an 18-12 lead at the end of the first quarter. Coach Rena Wakama's side maintained their momentum in the second quarter to go into the break ahead at 34-29. Nigeria tightened their grip on the contest after halftime, asserting dominance in the third quarter before closing out the game with a convincing 70-37 win. Victoria McCauley led the scoring for Nigeria with 13 points and 6 rebounds, while Nicole Enebosi recorded a double-double of 10 points and 11 rebounds. Ifunaya Okoro also contributed 10 points in a strong all-round performance for the African champions. Nigeria would next face South Korea in the women's national basketball team's second leg tournament on Thursday. And now to news from the tennis world. Defending champion Jack Draper secured his most significant win of the 2026 calendar year with a hard-fought victory in 4-6, 6-4, 7-6 victory over Novak Djokovic to become the final player to reach the quarterfinals of the Indian Wells Open. The Brit appeared to be on the brink of victory before being broken with serving for the match, but he held his composure in the defending tiebreak to overcome the five-time champion. Meanwhile, world number one Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the Indian Wells quarterfinals for the fifth consecutive year with an impressive 6-1, 7-6 win over Norway's Casper Ruud on Wednesday. Alcaraz, who lifted the prestigious ATP Masters 1000 title in the California desert in 2023 and 2024, produced a dominant display in the opening sets, striking winners from every angle across the court. The Spaniard has now extended his perfect start to the 2026 calendar season as he continues his pursuit of another title at the Indian Wells. And that's it on ADBN TV News. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. I am Beto Brian, thanking you for watching. And I'll hand you back to Chijoke Okafor for the continuation of Morning Express. Stay tuned.
Well, thank you so much, Beto Brian, for taking us through that news bulletin. Well, in the news this morning, we hear that 3 more PDP senators have dumped the party for the All Progressives Congress. This now means that the APC has about 2/3 majority in the National Assembly. And many people are already crying foul and accusing the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC-led government of tilting towards a one-party system cutting across all levels of government. Well, this is on the front page of a number of newspapers this morning. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll visit the front pages to get insights into these developing stories with in-depth analysis much later. Stay tuned.
For your news on the go, ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms. An Avo TV app, ADBN Channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Linux World TV app. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp TV channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across social media handles. On X at ADBN TV. Instagram at ADBN TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV. Keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
The global business is never static. Watch the market report on ADBN TV for business information, latest happening business deals, government economic policies, stock, crude oil and commodity trading, financial upstick and downstick, and the world of organized private sector. The market report showing on ADBN TV 1 to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. The market report bringing you up to speed in the business world.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Some things don't arrive. They've always been. Not for a day, for all of time. Until quietly, something shifts. Moving from someday to now. Women are not honored in time. They are woven through it, shaping every story, every voice, every breath. We are because she is, and because tomorrow they will be.
The overall function of the parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes of federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
In a world of overwhelming voices, where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome to FCT in Focus, your window to the vibrant heartbeat of Nigeria's capital. We dive deep into the core of the FCT, exploring how key policies and decisions shape lives across the city. From exclusive insights into the FCT administration to voices from the streets, we bring you stories that matter. Catch FCT in Focus every Saturday and Sunday at noon. Tune in for the latest stories directly from the nation's hearts.
In a world constantly
constantly in flux. News moves fast. Stories collide. Opinions swirl. Who helps you make sense of it all?
It's me, ADBN, of course. Every week, I take you beyond the headlines, cutting through the maze, asking the tough questions, and spotlighting the stories shaping our world.
From politics to culture, business to global affairs, community pulse to everything that defines human existence, News Eddies brings you the currents that matter. Stay informed, stay ahead.
Join me, Eddie Ekpenyong, for News Eddies, 9 p.m. every Sunday on ADBN TV.
It doesn't take a pandemic or an epidemic to know that clean hands save lives. Hand washing is essential anytime, anywhere to protect your health. So keep washing your hands, not just when they're dirty, but even on the go. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep your hands clean.
Do you know what gamalin 20 is? It is a dangerous chemical pesticide never meant for human consumption. Sadly, some fishermen illegally use gamalin 20 to catch fish, poisoning not just the water, but the food on your plate. Here's how to spot fish caught with gamalin 20. Fish that look unusually fresh but stiff. A strange chemical smell, sometimes like kerosene, when cooked. Pale or bleached gills, peeling scales, or sunken eyes. Eating such fish can cause nausea, vomiting, and even damage your liver and kidneys. In severe cases, it can lead to life-threatening health complications. Remember, using gamalin 20 for fishing is a crime. It harms people, rivers, and marine life. Protect your health. Buy fish only from trusted sellers. Report suspicious fishing practices to the authorities. Together, let's keep our waters safe and our meals healthy.
Well, you're welcome back to Morning Express. Very quickly now, let's jump straight to the front pages, starting off with this day newspaper. I had earlier told you that 3 more PDP senators have defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. And now this move has stamped the PDP's majority status in the National Assembly to a 2/3 figure. Now, we always read these stories out as published under the editorial guidelines of the newspaper houses, and they do not in any way represent our stand or position here at ADBN Television. We'll be also more than excited to hear from you across our socials. Keep those comments coming in, but remember, civility is of utmost importance. Do not use inciting or inflammatory statements when you do so. Well, that being said, let's pick up this day newspaper with the headline story. As 3 more PDP senators join APC, party almost has 2/3 majority in the National Assembly. Ruling party can practically alter constitution alone with 84 senators and 231 House seats. PDP caucus shrinks to 14. Now let's see other stories. Despite fresh moves to resolve crisis, Wike's PDP faction fixes presidential primary May 25th. BOT rejects appeal court's sack of Ibadan convention, postpones meetings, open to reconciling with other faction. Now let's see other stories captured right above the headline story and above the masthead as well. Tinubu says, I'm a die-hard Democrat. True Democrats must submit to the rule of law. In China, Russia abstain as UN Security Council demands Iran holds attacks on Gulf states. 32 nations agree historic 400 million barrels reserve release. City, Stanchart evacuate Dubai offices. HSBC closes Qatar branches. Iran cannot participate in World Cup, minister says. ADC calls on federal government to cap petrol prices. Well, those are top stories. Let's see what it looks like at the bottom. on the front page of this day newspaper. On the rider, you'd find a picture of certain individuals at the second edition of the Africa Trade Conference in Cape Town. Now you can find Roosevelt Ogbonna, who is the CEO and GMD Axis Bank PLC, alongside Minister of Trade and Entrepreneurship, Republic of Botswana, and Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Ghana, and Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Republic of Zambia. Now this was just yesterday. Let's keep more news reports this morning. The next three set of dailies will be the Daily Sun, the Daily Monitor, as well as the Daily Trust newspaper. But let's start off with the Daily Monitor. We hear that the House of Representatives is set to amend or has amended the Electoral Act to criminalize dual party membership. No individuals found guilty of belonging to more than one party, or individuals rather, found guilty of belonging to more than one party to face fine of 10 million naira and jail term of 2 years. Now, above the headline story and above the masthead, you'd find some stories there. Terrorist attacks, military on top of game, says Musa, as he also adds terrorists and bandits were suffering heavier losses. Federal government suspends petrol import licenses for second consecutive month. Senate confirms Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance. Why I signed Electoral Act 2026. These are statements made by Mr. President on news page 12 of the Daily Monitor. Alleged money laundering. ICPC to detain El Rufai for additional 14 days. Let's move to the bottom and get more stories on the Daily Monitor. Bottom stories on the Daily Monitor: U.S.-Israel-Iran war, Nigeria's economy and cause, attributes hike in cost of fuel to market realities. Now, this is the federal government attributing hike in cost of fuel to market realities. A picture of prominence here captures the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olatunji Rilwan Disu, during an operational visit to Kwara State in a community recently terrorized by armed criminals, in a show of solidarity to reinforce ongoing efforts aimed at restoring stability in the area. Well, the next paper will be the Daily Sun newspaper this morning, as reps amend newly signed Electoral Act, dual party membership to attract 2-year jail term. Offenders may also pay 10 million naira fine or both. Away from the headline, bottom stories you can find on insecurity. Senate raises the alarm over renewed attacks in Borno after invasion of Kukawa military base. 14 killed in fresh attacks in Katsina State. UNILAG defies ASU strike, insists exams will continue. Silent on payment of amputated salaries to lecturers. Rejection of envoy, what federal government should do, a diplomatic source states. Says India didn't reject envoy, only notified Nigeria of its policy. Southeast needs strategic engagement to get additional state, reps Deputy Speaker states. And you can find a picture here capturing Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, Senator Osita Izunaso, and Deputy Whip Ibrahim Isiaka. Chairman, Southeast Council of Traditional Rulers is Emmanuel Okeke, Princess Miriam Onoha, and others at the National Assembly Abuja over the creation of Anim State yesterday. These are the stories. Well, there are more stories, but let's see top stories away from these bottom reports. NNPC in talks with oil producers as Dangote refinery shakes up fuel market. Iran wants oil could hit $200 as hostilities escalate. PDP leaders set up reconciliation panel, hopeful of rebound. Party strong to negotiate from position of strength. This is a statement by FCT Minister and PDP chieftain Barrister Nyesom Wike. The next daily will be the Daily Trust. Now we start off with the Electoral Act amendment made by the House of Reps Cross-carpet crackdown traps politicians. That's the headline story right there on the Daily Trust. I'll take that again. Electoral Act, cross-carpet crackdown traps politicians. Right above the headline. Middle East crisis, federal government warns of price shocks. World Kidney Day, patients seek free dialysis as cost of treatment bites hard. National Assembly redundant, claims Senator Ndime. And on the rider, family seeks reunion with Walida. And bandits kill 15, injure many in Katsina State. But no attacks. Service chiefs review strategies as soldiers recapture base. Abuja, Benue, other states at high risk as temperatures soar. Now, you'd find a picture here capturing Iranians attending the funerals of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC commanders, army commanders, and others killed in the early days of the United States and Israeli strikes on Iran, with a damaged building visible in the background at Engelab Square in Tehran yesterday. Well, these are the stories splashed on the Daily Trust. We'll be taking a look at the next three set of papers. The First Daily, The Nation, and the Nigerian Tribune. Now, with the First Daily, it's a scramble for peace within the People's Democratic Party as the 2027 election looms. Now, the catchphrase there states, racing against time. PDP factions scramble for peace as 2027 looms. Elsewhere, reps propose 10 million naira fine, jail term for dual party membership. And all the feature stories found on the First Daily. Senate confirms Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance. Passengers injured as BRT bus catches fire in Lagos. Oil price surge. Dangote refinery has become Nigeria's lifeline, Petron says. And on insecurity, Ondo slams ban on Okada operations in 18 local government areas. Expect $200 per barrel oil. Iran vows to block U.S.-Israel shipments. Pro-Biafra coalition plans 1 million match in Aba for Kano. And a story you'd find there, NDLEA nabbed 56 drug suspects in Kano raid. You can find a picture of prominence on the front page of the First Daily capturing Nollywood actress Funke Akindele, GMD, CEO of NGX Group, Temi Opola, and Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, First Lady of Imo State, Chioma Uzodimma, and founder of Ebony Life Group, Mo Abudu, during the Ring the Bell for Gender Equality 2026 ceremony at the Nigerian Exchange in Lagos on Wednesday, March 10th. The Nation and the Nigerian Tribune will be our next two stops. Starting off with The Nation, Wiki-backed PDP faction lists terms for reconciliation. Camp fixes presidential primary for May 23rd. Makinde, Turaki Group raises peace deal. I'll take that again. Makinde, Turaki Group raises peace panel, rather. Senate clears Oyedele as minister. IG asks court to dismiss Rufai's 1 billion naira suit. House of Reps criminalizes membership of two parties. APC senators now 84. 3 senators, 5 reps dump PDP and the Labour Party. Middle East crisis, federal government rules out petrol price control. Assembly proposes relocation. Makoko, I'll take that again. Assembly proposes relocation of Makoko residents to Agboa. And moving away from those top stories, we have some more stories at the bottom. Terrorist attacks. Military on top of game, says Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa. Why Gulf oil? Gas producers should invest in Nigeria, by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maitama Tugar. And lastly, VCs face probe over alleged misuse of TED fund allocation. These are the stories on The Nation. Well, the Tribune has comments of the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike as its leading headline story, and in a moment we'll see that together. On the Tribune, PDP crisis, we will negotiate from position of strength, says Wike. Story you can find on news page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Wabara-led BOT rejects appeal court ruling, opens window for reconciliation. Another appeal court gives factions room for settlement. Reps prescribe 10 million naira fine, 2-year jail term for dual party membership. Afenifere false removal of forged certificate provision from new electoral act. And a health report states that scientists have discovered a pill for sleep apnea. And on the rider, Iran warns oil may hit $200 per barrel as it attacks merchant ships. IEA members to release 400 million barrels from reserves to ease oil market shock. Oil producers should invest in Nigeria to diversify supply in terms of crisis, says the federal government. Now let's see some 3 stories above the masthead, and then we move on to the next. Defense Minister meets service chiefs, says we are on top of rising insecurity. Reps task NSA to coordinate joint security operations in Ekiti State. Nigeria on path to 7% growth as reforms begin to stabilize economy, says Wale Edun. And Professor Seun Kolade writes for Tribune, begins Wheels of Reason column today. These are the stories on the Nigerian Tribune. Well, we have 2 more papers to round off this segment of brief newspaper overview, and we'll be looking at the Punch newspaper and the Vanguard. Starting off with the Punch, it's concerning the oil and gas sector and, of course, fears of monopoly, which is rising as Dangote controls 14.4 trillion naira petrol market. Straplines attached to the headline: Labour, economists, energy experts flag monopoly risks in post-import ban market. OPS warns against hasty price regulation, demands NNPC refineries overhaul. NMDPRA rejects return to fuel imports. Stakeholders insist on PMS price regulation. Nigeria spent $5.2 billion servicing external debt in 2025. Electoral Act reps OK jail for dual party membership. Now on the rider, you'd find 3 stories: Osun governorship polls, Adeleke, Oyebamiji. I will take that again. Osun governorship polls, Adeleke, and Oyebamiji dream victory as campaign begins. Fear in Ondo communities as kidnappers tighten grip in Akure North. Joshua's uncle confirms Box's move to Dubai. Now let's look at more stories featured here on the Punch newspaper. Appeal court fallout. Makinde, Bala split over Wike peace deal. Defense Minister orders operational overhaul after base attacks. 2027 jitters. PDP loses 107 National Assembly members to defections. These are the stories found on the Punch newspaper. Now let's move on to our penultimate paper of the lineup, which will guide our discussion this morning. The Vanguard newspaper greets your screen in just a moment. And on the front page of the Vanguard, Middle East war. Despite Dangote's price cut, petrol is still 1,300 naira. Depot price ranges between 1,190 naira and 1,200 naira per litre. Transporters, commuters, others lament high fuel prices. We need time to achieve compliance along value chain, Petroan says. Crude oil rises marginally to $92 per barrel. Straits of Hormuz closure. IEA approves release of 400 million barrels of oil by 32 nations. This story is elaborated on news page 5 of the Vanguard. Federal government spending on domestic debt service falls 38% to $405.3 million. Nigerian, 121 others injured as Iran hits UAE. PDP crisis. Elders heed appeal court advice, move to reconcile feuding camps. The federal government unveils plan to connect all Nigerian students to internet. Well, let's see what bottom stories look like on the Vanguard. On insecurity, Defense Minister summons service chiefs over rising attacks. Defense Minister summons service chiefs over rising attacks. And Reps amend Electoral Act, propose 10 million naira fine, 2-year jail term for dual membership. And you can find two pictures to the left side of the Vanguard capturing Nigerians in Iran leaving. Now, some willing Nigerians seeking safer grounds being escorted across the Armenian border by officials of the Nigerian embassy in Iran. And you can find the main picture of prominence capturing Chief of Defense Intelligence, Lieutenant General Emmanuel Udwande, and Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, and as well as Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shuaibu, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Mr. Richard Filangwa, and Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, during a meeting with Defense Minister, with service chiefs and heads of intelligence agencies to review security strategy in Abuja yesterday. These are the many stories splashed on the Vanguard. Well, these stories are the stories that will guide our discussions on the program this morning. We'll take a break. When we return, we hope to have our guests join us for in-depth analysis on Morning Express. Do well to stay tuned.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Any other government official here, please I extend my regards. It is a joy and a great honor to be with you again this year. We give thanks to Almighty God for sparing our lives and keeping us together to see another Ramadan, and a great Ramadan that coincides with that of the Christian faith. You know what it means. Discipline, sacrifice, faith, resilience, strong determination for us to continue to brace together, pray together, and love one another. I want to thank all of you for what you have been able to get achieved so far. I thank God for what we've been able to achieve together. I didn't expect this number to show up because some people are still buried in their various congresses and other local government or state level. I will advise those in the same party with me to please bear in mind that those little ones too, they do cry. Tolerate everybody, build the structure in this period of faith, unity, harmony, and sacrifice that you are pleading. Do it. And let the young ones breathe. I must revert to the generosity of Professor Zulum. I saw the layout of those Ramadan outreach, both for the Christian and Muslim. That is a very, very good spirit. I watched the story. You look more robust. I thought you would eat all the 300,000 shares of the place. To all of you, I'm very, very grateful because we've seen progress. We've seen commitment to duty. But please, I appeal again, let's go further to embrace the downtrodden, the young ones, and all the supporters, be all encompassing, and let's spread the development opportunity across to the grassroots. The local government and your efforts have seen a lot of progress being made in the states. I can't commend you enough. The result of hard work is more work, including my son, the farmer from Niger. There are a lot of complaints and commendations coming from all angles. They will come from this at me too. But as long as we brave together and we move together and determined to rescue this country, the best is yet to come to Nigeria. We're out of the woods. We're out of the dark tunnel of uncertainty. The economy is showing up. Let's help those unemployed. What I promise you is not to be postponed. We will establish state police to combat the insecurity. Start looking around you. Thank you very much.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu right there addressing APC leaders and members of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, at the State House in Abuja. Well, joining us this morning is Mr. Ben Agunle, who is a public affairs analyst, to discuss some pertinent issues in the news. Very good morning to you, Mr. Ben. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Well, let's start with the comments of Mr. President, where he had addressed these political leaders. Just a couple of days ago, we got reports of IPAC threatening to boycott the 2027 general elections if the APC-led administration does not rescind on its decision, regarding the amended Electoral Act. Now, here we are seeing them whining and dining with Mr. President. Do you think that this has some sort of correlation to the threats earlier issued by IPAC?
Well, I want to believe that they have been with the president. Maybe it's an invitation to an iftar. So all such gathering, I think it's common about this season and this time.
Yeah.
Well, as to their threat to boycott, I think that they have had enough time, in my opinion, to have made their position known when the Electoral Act Amendment Bill was being debated. What we get more was, like I said as at then, the position of the vocal minority who were only interested in electronic transmission, as if that is the only element of the bill. Where was IPAC when that was being passed? What was their position? What was their presentation? Even if they were not represented, at least we would have seen their press statement, we would have seen their open position, we would have seen their open objection. So coming up when the bill has been passed and saying you are going to boycott, for me, it's more like you refuse to buy the plane ticket, the plane had taken off, and then
you're complaining.
You are complaining.
Well, let's talk about the threat itself, right? A brilliant analogy you have laid out, Mr. Ben. But in reality, should IPAC boycott the 2027 general elections? If they are able to do that, would it have any effect at all in how the elections will pan out? Or would we have a smooth sailing, turnout of voters, and would it be hitch-free, even with or without IPAC's involvement in the elections?
Well, anytime there is a boycott in an election, you expect it to be very free. Fairness, because of those boycotting, we might not totally say, oh, this is fair.
Yeah.
But the question also will be, what percentage of the electorate does IPAC control?
Yeah.
How many people would actually boycott the election because IPAC is saying so.
Boycott the election.
He's saying so. So we need to look at it from that angle.
Yeah.
But as to if they actually chose and everybody who was with them on that chose to boycott, then you expect that we should have an election that will be very free, because the number of contenders would be lower. And the lower the number of contender, the higher the possibility of peace and tranquility around, because the interests are not too divided. But then, like we said, in the place of fairness, their boycott may not be too fair to the people, because a lot of people in a lot of places would have no option to pick from. It will just be like, whether you vote or you do not vote, the person, those few people who are contending might just sail through.
Now, Mr. President was seen there saying something about the governors or the party leaders, that they should, be patient, be tolerant with, some other people at the bottom or the younger ones. Now, is he talking about the younger demographic when it comes to, the political landscape? Or is he talking about a local government council chairman that we all know have not had a smooth sailing relationship with most governors in the state, especially due to the Supreme Court ruling that had given administrative and financial autonomy to these LGAs, and the governors refused to adhere? What exactly was the president pointing to?
Well, I think that this is more of, in my opinion, a political space. So when you say young, it's not about age. It should be about when you arrive on the scene.
Yeah.
And so younger sometimes could be talking about members of the party
who just came in.
Just came in. Some governors have decamped. some chairmen have
much like the governor of Zamfara State. We saw Dawda Lawal defecting as well.
Defecting, and a lot of other people who are just migrated into the party. Some have moved to ADC, some have moved to APC, and there are movements to NDC and the rest of that.
Yeah.
So basically, those who are just migrating in could be considered young in the new party. And so the new party being able to accommodate and tolerate them, because of course these are the season of the party convention and the rest of that. Now to the extent to which you tolerate the new entrants, so to say, determines the level of cohesion and ability of the parties to work together. And the unity being in the party gives us less distraction, because sometimes you will realize that internal crisis of the party affect electoral results and the electorate sometimes much more than even the fight between two parties.
Well, talking about defection, Mr. Ben, we hear that 3 more PDP senators have dumped the party, citing, of course, this prolonged crisis within the party. They have decided to join the All Progressives Congress, and now that leaves the APC with about 2/3 of a majority in the National Assembly. That's quite a huge figure at the moment. And if you recall, there have been a lot of allegations or accusations against the Tinubu-led administration or the APC, the ruling party, of trying to run Nigeria as a one-party state. With the defection of most state governors, the APC now has about 31 or 32 state governors. The PDP barely has 5. Other parties, nothing much to say about them. And now we are seeing the National Assembly also being held strongly by the APC. What do you make of this entire situation?
Well, I think that the leadership of the PDP is to blame for the crisis of the PDP.
Why?
In my opinion, it is not an issue of the APC stifling opposition. No. Now, we go back in our history. Down there, I think in 1999, Bola Ige was from the AD, and I think the then chairman of the APP, they were not ANPP yet, of the APP, were made ministers in the PDP regime, in Obasanjo's cabinet. And they stayed. And they worked with the president. Now, the presence of Bola Ige in the PDP did not lead to the death of the AD. Not at all. He was still Bola Ige, serving the nation, first as Minister of Power, then as Attorney General,
while still actively
of the
being a member of the
while he was still a member of the AD. And I think that didn't change anything. So Wike becoming a minister, I don't think is new in the balance of our system.
We'll still come
it's
to
always,
that in a moment.
Yes, it's always been there. But the people, right, the crisis in the PDP, it's, for me, it's more about ego and not about survival of the party. And so because people have to run their ego, and then some feel, look, we have nothing to lose. Some have the concept of, oh, we have something to lose. And so those who felt they have something to lose, if the party is not able to field any candidate, because the windows for fielding candidates are gradually getting closed. You need to have your party registration now, electronically make it available to INEC. If your name is not there, you cannot vie for any position. Of course, you see very soon primaries will be open. But PDP has a case in going to the Supreme Court. It's not even there yet. Now, what is the assurance that that case will be determined early enough for the party to be able to field candidates?
Even after fixing its primaries for May 23rd?
It doesn't matter whether, if the party does not have, if you fix primary and Supreme Court determined thereafter that the ESCO that was responsible for that primary was wrong, what happens. Remember the Zamfara election 2019?
So all of this...
Zamfara 2019, yeah. APC won everything. But when the case got to the Supreme Court and he said the ESCO of the party was not properly constituted, of course, all the over 70% vote at all levels that was given to APC were declared void. And the PDP got all the position, governor and the rest. So learning from that, now PDP was the beneficiary in that instance. APC was also disqualified from contesting in Rivers because of similar internal party crisis and improperly constituted ESCO at whatever level. Now those were even at the state. Now you are talking about at the very center. So every governor who is on the first term and would want to recontest would rather go and look for where they can get a ticket, where they can vie for a ticket that will be valid. And when you look at the two governors left in PDP, they are second-term governors. That's Sheyi Makinde in the southwest and Bala Mohammed in the northeast. Those two are second-term governors.
Well, these two we also hear are already falling out of their friendship or their alignment since the appeal court ruling nullifying the Ibadan Convention that was held sometime last year.
Well, the truth is they both were together at the point of that convention. They supported that convention.
Almost spearheaded it entirely.
So, and like we said, it is because they do not have something to lose so much in the immediate, in so much that they are second-term governors. So for people who have ambition, now their other ambitions are subject to negotiation. We've learned they may want to be president or vice president, whichever way they so will. And the room is still open for them, maybe to the camp. But I was telling somebody that leaving the party because you couldn't get a ticket there to go and contest and win is simple. We've seen people do it in the past. They leave the PDP to go and contest, and having won election, they return to the PDP. We saw that. Mimiko won on Labour Party because the PDP wouldn't even give him a chance to contest the primaries. He went to Labour, he became governor. Towards the tail end of his second term, he returned
to the PDP. Cross-carpeting.
Yeah, he returned to the PDP with his entire government. And we've seen other people who got to the Senate on a different ticket and returned to the PDP or the APC.
Now let's talk about the ruling party and the power it wields right now in the National Assembly. Some reports say that the APC can practically alter the Constitution as it stands right now, because in the Senate alone it has about 84 senators, and in the House of Representatives 231 seats.
Well, 231 seats is still less than 240. The 2/3 in the House of Rep is 240. Okay, 2/3 in the Senate is 73. So we could say in the Senate they have 73.
I mean, just nine seats to go.
To go, yeah. But what we also need to look at clearly is that even when they did not have the majority, how well has the opposition been able to prevent bills from being passed? They've always had the simple majority.
In your opinion, it makes very little to no difference because it has always, the party has always wielded higher power, being the majority in the National Assembly.
They've been able to have their way over time. But now, perhaps you say it's becoming easier for them. Well, we hope that they will use that number to actually pass some bills that have been a problem for a long time. One could be, at least if they are today able to pass the community police, the state police bill, then you expect that if the Senate pass, common sense will prevail in the House of Rep, and then because they have 31 governors, they should be able to convince at least 24 of the State House of Assembly to pass the bill. Because whether we like it or not, I think from the point where we are, we need the state police to take effect. And so there will be also some other bills that are as important as that. So we want to believe that now that they have the number and we are approaching election year, they will use that number to the benefit of the people, to the benefit of the nation. We've had laws that have been difficult to pass in the past. Perhaps now they want to look again at judicial autonomy, state assembly autonomy. A number of those things in the past were difficult to do. Perhaps now that you have a swing majority, a majority at least on their side, then they should be able to use this remaining period of about 1 year to do that. Now, they can do that in the interest of the people, it will be good.
All right, Mr. Ben, I'll come back to you in just a moment. We also hear that the House of Representatives has amended the Electoral Act to criminalize dual party membership. Well, the voters are set to pay a 10 million naira fine and serve about 2 year jail term, or even both. Now, this is coming at a time when cross-carpeting in Nigeria's political landscape is quite common. Mr. Ben, you had also even cited the example of Mimiko, who had left, the PDP to another party, won the election, and towards the tail end of his second tenure, defected back to the PDP. And we have seen quite a number of such instances happening. Even Governor Adeleke, who recently left the PDP, there are still speculations that after winning his second tenure could leave the accord, back to the PDP or any other political party, maybe the APC. How difficult will this be for the typical Nigerian politician who plays chess with this party defection and cross-carpeting?
Well, it's not supposed to be difficult. What I see the bill trying to do is to stress it that you cannot eat your cake and have it.
Or maybe ensure that politicians, public governors, senators, House of Reps members who have defected to the APC now cannot leave without consequence.
No, it's not to say they cannot leave. What they are saying is dual membership.
Being here and there.
Being here and there at the same time. Which is that you need to resign from Party A before you can become a member of Party B.
Even recently, we saw the likes of Elijah Atiku Abubakar doing the same, and even Peter Obi Atiku was in the PDP and then, joined the ADC coalition, and it took him quite a lot of time before he officially resigned from the PDP. Obi had the same issue, and it was after voices were venting that are you here, are you in the Labour Party, or are you in the ADC, that he decided to pen his resignation. And even the likes of Governor Alex Oti said that they were not going to follow him to the ADC, that he is free to go. If this bill or if this tweaking of the Electoral Act had happened then, do you think that just maybe these political gladiators would have been roped in by the law?
Well, if the law was in existence at the time, the confusion that was created and the noise and the rumpus generated by that wouldn't have happened at all.
Why?
Because the position of the law would have been very clear. And I'm sure that no politician wants to risk jail term. Because
or the embarrassment.
The embarrassment that will come with it. Because if it's a criminal charge, automatically, if you are docked for criminal charge, to a large extent, it affects your personal reputation as to respect for due process, as to respect for law and order, as to respect for the constitution of the nation. How do you want to govern a nation whose constitution constitution or law you did not respect?
Yes.
So to a large extent, I think that that adjustment is meant to bring some measure of sanity. It's meant to say you cannot eat your cake
and have it.
So you can't be, I think that language was in my state. We had a governor and they said at home he is labor. In Abuja is PDP. That's not fair on the position of the people, because you have the people's trust and then you are horse trading. No, you decide, okay, I want to leave this party and I'm going to this. So you write a resignation letter, leave the party that you are leaving and everybody knows you had left.
Yes.
And then submit your application where you are going to, and everybody knows that you are in. And you know, basically one of the reasons why that is also coming up is because you are now saying, let's have an electronic register of voters.
Yes.
And you cannot then be on the list of two different political parties at the same time. And at the point of nomination, it is only the names that are on the list that can contest. So I think to an extent, some of the lawmakers who came up with this amendment, if it's agreed upon, had looked at that situation. That let us not confuse the people, let us not confuse the system, let's know where the people are going.
But how rampant has this been in you know, the political scene in Nigeria? Because yes, there's a clear-cut difference between defection and also cross-carpeting, where, you know, today you are in party A, tomorrow you are in party B, while not resigning from party A, and if anything goes wrong in party B, you run back to party A. How rampant is this, and how have we not been able to checkmate this? I mean, it's a good thing that it's coming right now, but why haven't we been able to checkmate this ever since the inception of the Fourth Republic?
It's not just Fourth Republic. Even in the First Republic, there were people who did the same party, from Action Group to NNDP, some from NCNC to NNDP. Yeah. So there were that movement. At least I may not know about the other regions, but I know I came across clips and reports of what transpired in the then Western region.
Yes.
There are a lot of movements here and there before and after election. In the Second Republic, you also have such movement from NPP to MPN, from MPN to MPP, from UPN to MPN. That also was part of what created maybe some of the crisis in Ondo and Oyo in the 1983 election. It was still about deputy governor moving from UPN to contest election in MPN. So that was already fueled the anger of the people, even before you now have issue of results manipulation. But the practical reality was the movement had always been there. And we've always seen people move. And some move and lose election. But I think this law is sense to, like, let's give clarity to this movement.
Yes.
You resign and move. The other party have the right to accept or reject you. That's the practical reality. But you must first resign from one party before you can join
if the party you're joining rejects you, it means you are without a party.
Yes, so you have to keep looking until you find one.
A wandering politician.
Yeah, so you have to keep looking for one. But at least basically you must say, I am no longer here and I'm going there. You may not even tell us where you are going immediately, but at least I am no longer here. I think that was what the Bayelsa PA governor did. He first resigned from the PDP, and then thereafter
joined
the APC. So I think that clear-cut design should be in place.
Yeah.
So if you like, move many times, the record of the letters will be there that you are an inconsistent politician. And at the right time during campaign and policy making, people can begin to assess you based on who you have been, based on the fact that you are not a consistent person and cannot be reliable.
All right, Mr. Ben, we have just about 10 minutes to round off, and we have quite a number of things on the menu to dissect. The People's Democratic Party factions, the Wike-led faction, and the Atiku led faction are all scrambling for peace at the moment. This is as the 2027 general election is around the corner. You had made reference to that earlier, where you mentioned something about if they don't put their house in order, they might not be allowed to field candidates in the 2027 general elections. But how close is this? And are we about to see a historic turn of events where a very strong political party like the PDP, well, strong at the time when it was at its prime, will not be able to field any candidates in Nigeria's general elections?
Well, PDP is still a strong party in my opinion, because they still have a structural crisis.
Yes,
agreed. They have a leadership crisis at the moment, but that is not to say that the membership they have across the nation have abandoned the party. I think that they still have a lot of their members in some of the places who are not yet moving out of the party. So they just need to find a means of resolving their crisis at the top. And that's why if today they are now talking about reconciliation, which was what we thought they would have done as early as October or November last year, rather than the arrogant, one-sided convention in Ibadan, where you possibly tell a Lamido who has been a foundation member of the party that he cannot contest. No. You have control of whatever you have. Let him contest. If he loses the election, you know he lost.
And not but he was
not that you zone it to his region and you say he cannot contest. Although it's not new with the party. That's where they have been from 99. Obasanjo did say that Awoniyi cannot contest, even though Awoniyi was from the North Central and the position was zoned to the North Central. I did remember that Obasanjo clearly, openly stopped Awoniyi from contesting. And the party, of course, and the government possibly even punish him in several other ways for that. So it's not new.
For even daring.
For even daring to say he wants to contest. And we've seen PDP take tickets from people who won primaries, give it to people who did not win. We saw Celestino Meya and Rotimi Amechi in Rivers. I think there was Shegun and someone else in Ekiti. And in a number of other places, you would have seen PDP do that. So it's not really new to the party. It's just that this time around, the kind of power they had at the center that time that could back up whatever action they choose to do, whatever impunity they were going through, that power is no longer in place. If the power were to still be in place, then you would have realized that yes, they would have done that to Lamido, and Lamido going to court possibly wouldn't have made any difference.
Now the scramble is due to the appeal court ruling, of course nullifying the Ibadan Convention. We had spoken about this earlier, but the BOT is rejecting the appeal court ruling while claiming that it will head to the Supreme Court to get regarding this. And if you recall, during the convention, or as part of the convention that was held in Ibadan, the Sheikh Makinde / Bala Muhammad faction had, institutionalized a suspension, an expulsion rather, expulsion of some members, including the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike, who has his own faction that many people deem the strongest faction in the PDP at the moment.
Yes, that's what we are saying. That from where they are, they still have their members across the nation. They still have people who are loyal to the party. They still have people who believe in the party. If they want to go the way of the court, the chances are that Supreme Court will not complete that matter, because the matter had not even been fully instituted in the Supreme Court as we speak. So if they institute, how do they get accelerated hearing? Can they get the decisions taken before April? If it is not taken, then it tells you that they will not be able to field
candidate. So the option open to them is to go back perhaps to the Saraki committee, allow, yes, the weakest team at the moment has the upper hand, and like they are insisting they want to negotiate from the realm of strength, you can't blame them. They shouldn't, like Winston Churchill, he said you don't make the weak strong by weakening, you don't weaken the strong to strengthen the weak.
Interesting.
It is the weak that should come up and become strong so that you can have something that is workable. So I think that reconciliation may be the immediate way out, in which case it will require withdrawing all the cases in court so that whatever decision you now take becomes binding at the level of the party. But if you are still insisting on going to court, then it's still a case of eating your cake and having it. You can't be negotiating with me out of court. If you cannot be talking reconciliation when you still want me to come to get a lawyer and come to meet you in court. So the case should either be in court and let the court determine, or they sit down, broker their rank, come together, agree on what to do, so that at least before the end of this month, they've got just a few number of days left, they would have been able to properly iron out things and make peace, and then they can begin to go back on the path of progress.
Now, of course, the Wike-backed PDP faction has listed terms for reconciliation. Now, this is also as the camp has fixed the presidential primaries of the party for May 23rd. We also hear that the Makinde and Turaki group has decided to raise a peace panel to reconcile all warring factions of the party. Now, just a few of the items listed as part of the reconciliation is 1, transparency, sincerity of intention, recognition of the caretaker committee as the dominant force in the party, and so many other things that they have listed right there. But let's just address the recognition of the caretaker committee as the dominant force in the party, Mr. Ben. Many analysts who have been following the trajectory of happenings in the PDP, and especially with the Wike-backed faction now even presenting terms for reconciliation, might say that just maybe this war is over and the Turaki, the Makinde Turaki-led faction has lost the battle within the party.
Well, as of today, by the court judgment coming from the Court of Appeal, you can say that the CTC, Wike gang, have the upper hand, and as of the moment are in position to take decisions for the party. But the BOT is not with them. So that, of course, is also a constitutional issue within the party. The BOT has a role. So you can't say you have a CTC and you do not have the BOT, because the caretaker committee does not represent or constitute the BOT.
The BOT, okay.
So if the BOT is on that side and the CTC is on a different side, you cannot say that the CTC has complete control
of the party,
of issues in the party. But they have an upper hand because they will still be the recognized executive. And like we said, if eventually you go forward and the BOT goes to court, and then you do a presidential primary, and then the court declares the BOT position as right and the CTC position as wrong, for whatever reason, then it tells you that whatever primaries that the CTC had conducted, or whatever activity they have run between when maybe their tenure should have expired, or between when the BOT seems them as to have fully exhaust their operational days, based on the judgment, becomes a nullity.
Now, Mr. Ben, just your last comment on this. Mr. Wike was quoted as saying, "We will negotiate from a position of strength." regarding this entire matter?
By the judgment, they have the right to. What he's saying is we are not outsiders. Previously, they said they have expelled them. Now the court says they are the right people to relate
and you
with,
must reconcile.
which means they are the ones INEC, for now, will relate with. So based on that, they can insist to say, oh, we are negotiating from the point of strength. We are not weak. We are relevant. We have a judgment that backed us. And obviously, every judgment as it relates to the Ibadan Convention seems to have say, look, the convention was a nullity. Because the only court that possibly said you can hold it was a state high court. Now I'm not sure that state high court can give orders to INEC. It would have been a federal high court there in Ibadan that has a federal jurisdiction to be able to determine matter. But of course, the Court of Appeal tends to have put that where it belongs. So if Wike is saying we are negotiating from this point of strength, it's only saying, look, beyond whatever was happening before the Court of Appeal judgment, we are now legally strengthened to negotiate as members of the party and as stakeholders
recognized
by the law.
All right, Mr. Ben, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have these discussions with you on the program. I have been speaking to Mr. Ben Agunloye, a public affairs analyst, on matters of interest politically across the country. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll turn our attention away from politics to matters of health, as we will have two health professionals in the studio to speak to us about what pertains to your eyes. Stay with us.
The overall function of the parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes to federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Some things don't arrive. They've always been. Not for a day, for all of time. Until quietly, something shifts. Moving from someday to now. Women are not honored in time. They are woven through it, shaping every story, every voice, every breath. We are because she is, and because tomorrow they will be.
The global business is never static. Watch the market report on ADBN TV for business information, latest happening business deals, government economic policies, stock, crude oil and commodity trading, financial upstick and downstick, and the world of organized private sector. The market report showing on ADBN TV 1 to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. The market report bringing you up to speed in the business world.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
In a world constantly in flux, news moves fast, stories collide, opinions swirl. Who helps you make sense of it all?
It's me, ADBN, of course. Every week, I take you beyond the headlines, cutting through the maze, asking the tough questions, and spotlighting the stories shaping our world.
From politics to culture, business to global affairs, community pulse to everything that defines human existence, News Eddies brings you the currents that matter. Stay informed, stay ahead.
Join me, ADBN, for News Eddies, 9 p.m. every Sunday on ADBN TV.
On the go. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms. An Avo TV app, ADBN Channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Linux Well TV app. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp TV channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across social media handles. On X at ADBN TV. Instagram at ADBN TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV. Keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Well, you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now let's head straight to the second leg of discussions on the program this morning. We'll be focusing on the World Glaucoma Week 2026 with the theme, Uniting for a Glaucoma-Free World. And with me in the studio, I have two individuals two doctors who will be giving us insight into what this is all about and, all the information surrounding it. And first, to my right, I have Dr. Sewese Bito, consultant ophthalmic surgeon, neuro-ophthalmologist, and public health ophthalmologist, Department of Ophthalmology, Federal Medical Center, Abuja, Nigeria. And alongside Dr. Chimezie Obingba, Director, National Eye, Ear, and Sensory Functions Health Program, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. A very good morning to you. Welcome, Doctor.
Good morning,
Dr. Obi. Yeah. Virtual handshake to you as well. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining the program. First things first, let me start with you, Dr. Bito. A lot of people watching us right now will be wondering, what is glaucoma and what does it have to do with them?
Okay, thank you so much for having us on the program. And it gives us pleasure to talk about glaucoma anytime we're given the opportunity, particularly during this week of the World Glaucoma Week for this year. Glaucoma is a disease that affects the eye. So I'm going to be very simple in plain terms so that everybody can catch and grasp even children. So this disease affects the connection or the wire that connects the eye to the brain. That's the target of the disease. Another point to note about glaucoma is that it is the silent thief of sight, meaning that it's a disease that can exist in the body without any sign. Signs that tell us that we have bodily disease include pain, swelling, redness for the eye now. But none of this actually exists in many of the patients who may even have this glaucoma. And at the tail end, they just begin to complain of blindness. So it silently takes away vision from the patient without their knowledge, except they're able to check and know it is there. This glaucoma also affects millions of Nigeria. Our population is about 240 million people, and reports have it that about 5% of us have it. So just about 12 million Nigerians are affected by this disease.
And a majority of them do not even know that they have it.
Yes. No, this is even the people that we've detected.
Oh, okay.
We may just even be way more than that, which is why we are coming out to say, go check your eye, get tested, because this silent thief of sight is just in the eye, taking away vision gradually, up until when vision is non-existent. And another thing about glaucoma, an important point, is that it doesn't have a cure. So if glaucoma is found in the eye, just like any other non-communicable disease, which includes hypertension, diabetes, diseases that stay on once detected in the body for life, there's not much we can do about it.
They can only be managed.
It can only be managed.
Okay.
So we have therapies that can be instituted. However, if we don't know that it is there, and the patient does not know that it's there, blindness most of the time is imminent, and it is irreversible.
Now, Dr. Bito, I'll come back to you in just a moment. Let me move over to you, Dr. Obi. Much like she had rightly pointed out, glaucoma is often called the silent thief of sight because it develops gradually, and of course it's irreversible and all. But alarmingly, we hear that up to 90% of people living with glaucoma in developing countries, of course Nigeria included, remain undiagnosed even as at today. 90% is a lot of number. Does that mean that I could have glaucoma right now and not even know?
Absolutely.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's scary because why is also so scary, building on what she said, is silent because it affects the side, all right? The loss of visions come from the side, okay? And because of that, your central vision is okay. So you're looking at me, you're seeing excellently well.
And you don't get
to notice that your side vision is gone, or is going, let me put it that way, until it gets to affect the center. So when it affects the center, by the time it's affecting the center, more than 70% is already gone. So you have 30% of vision left, right? So, and that makes it so pathetic that it needs an insidious, intentional, conscious check. All right, so that's why at this point in time we're advocating do your annual screening, do your annual eye exams, because that will help us to detect it on time. So the 90% that we are talking about keep reducing, because it's not statistics we are after. We are after helping people in their productive years, irrespective of the statistics. Yes, helping people irrespective of their age and time to help get the help they need at that period in time. So for us at the National Ear and Sensory Functions Program, that's why we've taken steps to do this. We've helped train ophthalmologists on how to manage glaucoma using the National Glaucoma Toolkit. We've also instituted the primary eye care training for primary healthcare workers, so that if they see glaucoma cases, they could refer, because they are not to manage the glaucoma cases, they are to refer to where the ophthalmologist, the ophthalmic personnel is present, that we take care, that have specialist training to take care of this. So the Honorable Minister of State yesterday gave a press briefing around this, and it is really shows the government commitment to this activity. And so we urge Nigerians, those of us in the eye care space, the Ministry of Health, everybody. They are in Abuja as we speak. You have screening, free screening ongoing for people in Asokoro General Hospital, the Wuse General Hospital, there, and also Gwagwalada Teaching Hospitals. So that's the University of Abuja. It's free eye care screening at this point in time in Abuja, within Abuja metropolis. Other parts of the country, there are so many in various teaching hospitals and federal medical centers going on free. And it is so bad when you talk about glaucoma because it basically, because we are a black race, we have a risk factor. And of course, all of us in Nigeria, we are all blacks without detail to any bond, except perhaps acquire citizenship. Then we are also, so for most people who are, and it's worse because they affects mostly people in the productive age, 40 years and above, that is almost the peak of your career.
Now I'm still going to come back to you, Dr. Obi, because yes, there are stats about the black race, you know, being people of the black race often having glaucoma, and it starts earlier, you know, and it's more severe for us, and also the persons above 40 years benchmark for glaucoma. But Dr. Bito, when it comes to screening, Dr. Obi has mentioned something about screening and all. Oftentimes when you see people going for eye screening, they end up telling you, oh, the doctor said, or the optometrist or ophthalmologist, I often interchange them, you know, that they said, oh, I have myopia, I have astigmatism, and quite rightly, even for me, the only thing they told me is, oh, I have myopia in my left eye and astigmatism in the right eye. But during normal screenings, can these screenings detect glaucoma even if they are not intently searching for glaucoma?
Okay, thank you so much for this very valid question. Interestingly, when it comes to glaucoma, I will just mention very briefly some risk factors, and then I would come into the question, because that would help us understand the question that you've asked. When it comes to glaucoma, people who are above the age of 40 are more commonly affected. However, we can have glaucoma in a day-old baby, congenital glaucoma, which means that the baby had it in the womb.
From where?
Because glaucoma is a genetically based disorder.
It's not necessarily transmissible.
It's transferred.
Okay, from mother to child.
Yes, to a person to their offspring. And it can also be transferred to the next generation, even though the offspring did not have it. Because there's a link through the gene that can make it expressible in a further down the line generation.
Could you simplify that?
What I mean is that if a grandfather has glaucoma and has 5 children, possibly none of the 5 children may have it. However, when these 5 children have children, which are his grandchildren,
it springs up.
We can pick and detect glaucoma in them. In some other families, 2 out of the 5 may have. All of the 5 may have. We are not able to detect who can get it or not, as against the gene of sickle cell, for instance, the hemoglobin SS gene, a little more predictable. However, with glaucoma, that's not possible. So family hereditary genes or possibilities can occur. And the truth is that a sibling who has, a person who has a sibling who has it is more than 4 to 8 times more likely to have it. So a primary relative having it makes one's risk even more. Having said that, I've talked about age. Now, people who use drugs, eye drops, like steroid eye drops, they say, I have red eye, maybe it's Apollo, they just go off the counter.
They self-prescribe these drugs.
Yes, and they just go get a steroid which clears the redness, puts them at risk of glaucoma. So it's important that even with a red eye, please present to the hospital and be assessed properly. Don't just walk into a chemist or a pharmacist to pick up an eye drop for redness. No, that would be a fake or a wrong diagnosis, and you're just trying to use something that's a temporary makeshift, which puts one at risk of glaucoma. When people have high pressures in their eye, that's another risk factor. However, we have glaucoma that comes with normal pressure.
When you talk about this high pressure,
normal pressure,
what exactly does it mean?
Pressure in the eye. That's what we talk about. Unrelated to pressure in the body or in the bloodstream, which is referred to as blood pressure. The pressure in the eye is one very important risk factor for the control of glaucoma.
Which can be seen during screening?
Yes, which can be seen during screening. And this is something that we check when we say come for screening, okay? However, when a patient is going to the hospital to say, I'm going to check my eyes, what they typically would refer to is they want to check the optical aspect of their eyes, which is why there's an overemphasis on the glasses, which is bringing me to another risk factor. People who have had a prescription done today and within 1 year are saying, I'm uncomfortable with that prescription. Let me go and check it again. And they check it again and they're still uncomfortable. It means there's something wrong with that eye, most likely glaucoma, beyond just the optical aspect of the eye. Which is why when we come and we say, go to the hospital, get checked, it is good that they see a specialist who understands that I am going out of my way off just the normal glasses check.
If this is there.
To be, thank you, sir. I want to be deliberate about checking for glaucoma.
Okay.
So, the fact that we are encouraging people to go out of their way to check their eyes, we're not saying go and get glasses. What we're saying is, please ensure that they do a glaucoma check. That's a specific thing. It may be related to, because if someone who has glaucoma can have a refractive error, no doubt. That's separate. But we also want to place emphasis on the glaucoma side of things.
And because most people often don't know that they have glaucoma or they could be developing glaucoma, when they go for these checks, they don't specifically ask to be checked for glaucoma. So it's now, the onus is now on the health professionals to be able to do to go the extra mile in ensuring that they check for things like the eye pressure you mentioned.
Yes, in fact,
which could be pointers to the possibility of glaucoma.
Every time we have patients in our clinics who just say, I've come for an annual check, we understand what that means. Yes, because we have a team of ophthalmologists, optometrists, opticians, ophthalmic nurses who work to ensure the patient is comfortable. So immediately you come in and say, I just want to have an annual eye check. Just the way that I'm having my annual system check, where they take the blood for the kidney, they check the liver, they check the heart, all of that. Exactly. So when you come for the eye check, we know what that means. And we do the entire work. We check everything. Okay? So it's important that Nigerians emphasize that they need an eye check, especially because they've heard that there's this disease called glaucoma, or don't even bother saying the name. There's a disease that causes irreversible blindness. I don't want to be caught in the web of it. Please check my eyes. If you're actually at a recognized healthcare provider for eye health, you're in the right place. You will be checked properly because healthcare providers have been trained to do a proper screening. We're not just only going to concentrate on just the glasses aspect, no. We're going to check the entire eye, exactly. But Nigerians need to come forward. A lot of them are in the house and say, I'm well, I can see. So why am I? That's not the issue. Well, you can see centrally, but what is happening is there's affectation of the visual field from the side. Gradually, peripherally, it's coming in. It's coming in. So the fact that I can see centrally, because you won't see me put my head this way and I'm working this way. Nobody does that. God has made us to work with our primary position of vision.
Now, Dr. Obi, the peripheral vision she talked about, I was actually going to come back to you concerning signs that people can actually see. Understand that oftentimes most people don't see symptoms until it's too late. But what are, specific pointers that you could, see that would necessitate that you go to the hospital and get checked for glaucoma? You often find people telling you that, oh, this is their blind spot, they can't see. Even if someone is standing beside them, they'll just tell you, oh, I can only see this way. Why am I bothered about someone standing here? But if your vision is good, if someone is standing here, even without seeing their face properly, you should know that there is someone there. But oftentimes people don't do that. Are those kind of people, gradually tilting towards glaucoma?
That's even a tell sign that you have glaucoma, to be honest. If two of us sit in one spot and I can see and you don't see, your blind spots, your field of vision is constricted.
Just give me a moment. Let me do an experiment. Let me check if I can see the young lady in the studio. Just a moment. Well, I actually can't see her. She's wearing red. So I think I'm safe. Carry on, please.
Fantastic. So that's actually a red flag. All right. For you, if two of us are seated in one place, I can see somewhere and you cannot see. It means your peripheral vision is constricted, right? So that is really a huge alarming sign. And so for people who drive, and who, when they want to navigate a roundabout, as we call it in Nigeria, okay, you hit the curbs of the roundabout. You hit a bikeman who is beside you
without seeing
them, and then people are telling you, can't you see that? It means that you're already having a constricted peripheral vision, all right? And then if you're walking straight on and then somehow you bump into something by the corner, it means that your peripheral vision is constricted. Those are a few symptoms that one can, and that means it's even in the later stage. And so what we are preaching is that people should go and have their annual eye exams done, because if this disease is asymptomatic, causes irreversible blindness, the only way we could get it is to get it on time and get it started managed. All right, and so a few other symptoms apart from the one I had just mentioned, you could be looking at light. All of us are looking at light together. White light as it's as bright as this studio is. You could be seeing colors of rainbows around it, and that's called halos. What we call halos, but that's colors of rainbow around it. Is a pointer that you have raised pressure, as she mentioned,
which is also related to glaucoma.
Glaucoma, yes. So it's a pointer that you have raised eye pressure. So that could also be an alarming sign that you should go see. Sometimes, once in a while, if the pressure is so high, it could cause headaches and cause some pain, and also the eyes could be red, particularly in a form of glaucoma we call angle closure glaucoma. So those are pointers that you have that kind of glaucoma, right? But in most cases than none, it is basically asymptomatic, and we don't want people to come to us where we are crying with the person, because this is terribly, I've come in situations where I have a 36-year-old man priming his job, and all of a sudden he's telling me he can't see with one eye, and yet he's a driver. So how do you marry that? He has people that are dependent on him. His mother is in the village, his wife has 3 children and pregnant. So how do we marry those two?
Now, just to clarify that, he said he can't see in one eye.
Yes.
Does glaucoma affect both eyes at the same time, or it's often just one eye?
It affects both eyes, but asymmetric. Okay, so one will start and go, is like if I use the word a race. Okay. So the two starts a race. One goes faster than the other.
Okay.
All right. And for one who is having, so that's why it's asymmetrical affectation.
Yeah.
All right. So for one who is having, the person may be blind in one eye, and even the other one, you will find that most often than not, it is what we call the end stage or advanced glaucoma. So at that stage still, really nothing much could be done. So we are thinking about somebody who has what we call tunnel vision, a straight ahead vision, and cannot even see what is by the side. So that's for us is highly pathetic. So we'll be considering how do we help this person. We have been talking about visual rehabilitation and all that, but I mean, it's something that could have been avoided. Why don't we start avoiding it? And that's why we are urging, preaching to Nigerians to please come have your check. It's free in most places now. With the glaucoma week, and if you can utilize that, let it even be that is an intentional effort that every year when we celebrate glaucoma week, you have your annual checks. And believe me, this is all done globally. Nigeria, Asia, Africa, America. This week is celebrated globally.
Now, Dr. Bito, let's talk about the treatment of glaucoma. You had mentioned that much like other diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and the rest that cannot, be entirely eradicated from the body. How do you treat glaucoma, especially if detected early enough?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm happy that you emphasized cannot be totally eradicated from the body. A lot of patients have the erroneous impression that if I take the medications for a month, I'm fine. So maybe it's like malaria, it will go away. No, glaucoma doesn't go away. It can't be cured. So what are the things that we do when we get a patient and say we have diagnosed glaucoma in these eyes? What can be done? Very importantly, we start by telling the person that your family members need to come and get checked.
Okay.
That's key. You may have other people around you within your family who have it. Then number 2, based on the indices that we check, there are a lot of factors that we consider when we assess a patient, from the examination findings and the investigation findings. We consider either eye drops, which we call topical medication.
Yeah.
So that is instead of we even have tablets that can be taken.
Okay.
So what the target of this medication and all of these interventions is to reduce the intraocular pressure, because I don't think we have emphasized enough. Glaucoma does not have a specific cause. We know it's genetic. We know pressure will be high in most of the cases, and we know that it could be in your relative. It's because you have a certain race, or you carry
African
a certain, you're
race,
black. So these are things we can't change. Everything I've mentioned, we can change your family, we can change your race, we can't change, yes, we can't reverse your age.
Yeah.
So what we can do, and the only thing we can do worldwide, is to alter the pressure within the eye, which is the target of these interventions.
Yeah.
So medications given as eye drops or tablets that can be swallowed to alter the level of the pressure in the eye. Secondly, we have laser therapy that can be done.
I was going to ask that, whether there's any surgery to
yes, for
to
certain
help out.
types, and then based on the level of the pressure in the eye, and then based on the age of the patient as well. Then the third other intervention that we give is surgical intervention, which means that we prepare the patient, go into theater and intervene, open eye surgery, where we redirect the flow of the water that's in the front of the eye, called aqueous, to alter this pressure. Now, the choice of which of these interventions we'll have to use is dependent on so many factors. The age of the patient, many times a younger patient who has very high pressures, who is not particularly motivated from either the parents or the background socioeconomically, you want to choose to do surgical intervention for such a patient.
And when you do surgical intervention, what does that mean? Does it mean they don't get to take the steroid eye drops, they don't get to take the tablets? Is it like a one-stop shop for glaucoma treatment?
Okay, no. First and foremost, every glaucoma patient detected today is a patient for life. Let me start by saying that, so that
Just
we
like
put
diabetes.
put the conversation in perspective.
All right.
Being a patient for life means while you're on your medications, you keep coming. We're going to give you follow-up checks to keep. We start, okay, some drugs you may react to, some drugs you may have side effects. We need to alter. We may not be seeing the target pressure being achieved, which is the pressure at which we are saying we've slowed down progression to the barest minimum. And then for other people that we place on surgery, of course we have the post-operative period.
Yes.
But before surgery, it's important to note that surgery is not an escape route for using eye drops for life. Because if after surgery we check the pressure and we see that we've not attained, because many times after surgery it quite often drops. However, following them up over time, sometimes the pressure rises again. Either because the bleb may have failed, or either because it may have been infected. Some other dynamics come into the management of the patient. So we need to monitor these patients. They are not people who can just up and go. If you're relocating wherever in the country or wherever in the world, you need to move to another ophthalmologist to continue your care. So sometimes we can recommence these patients on eye drops, okay? Or a patient who was started on eye drops and became poorly motivated was probably not able to get the drugs. And we see that there has been progression over time, which we detect through a lot of tests in the clinic, particularly the central visual field test, which tells us functionally this patient's vision is being encroached upon. We need to convert that patient to probably have surgery. So these are the things that we want Nigerians to understand. Therapy is not a one-stop shop when it comes to glaucoma. You're a life patient, just the way the diabetic patient is on the medications and is checking up with the endocrinologist, and the hypertensive patient checking up with their cardiologist. Another point I just remembered now is individuals who have hypertension and are using their antihypertensive medications at night. That's a huge risk factor for glaucoma progression.
Why is that so?
Perfect. When God has made our entire systems to just chill and calm down at night, there's an auto-regulatory system in the body. So all of us just tend to be in a very low state of function when we all sleep. So cardiac activity drops and we are calm for us to sleep. And there are certain hormones that also drop because the hormones of activity, example cortisol, start their work 7 a.m., 8 a.m. to put us in the mood for the day. At 10 p.m., all of it has gone down. So we are all in a natural state of low function and rest. So naturally, the optic nerve head too has slightly reduced blood flow at night. And then you have this patient who is now taking amlodipine or nifedipine at night, which are drugs that are used for hypertension and slow down blood flow. Either they work at the level of the vessels or from the heart to reduce pumping of blood out, or they help the kidney to take out more water. That is a problem for the optic nerve head because we are further reducing the oxygenation to the optic nerve head, which puts these patients at risk of glaucoma. And typically the type of glaucoma that these kinds of patients would come down with is the normal tension glaucoma. So you don't see them have the typical high pressures, and you're wondering, why am I seeing glaucoma changes at the back of this patient's eye? Because this patient may have been on antihypertensives for years, taking them at night. So please, I don't want to confuse patients who are on antihypertensives. Please take your medications at the time that has been agreed upon with the ophthalmologist and the cardiologist.
Which is often what time?
Now, let me explain to you. Sometimes the cardiologist will give us, can give us an argument and say, no, it's a little too high at this point. Let's do morning and evening for a while. We are monitoring the patient. They are monitoring the patient. Are you following? So we're doing it together. But we will not leave you on antihypertensives for a long time at night. So at a point when we've gotten the level we intend, you can now go back to only morning for the rest of your life.
All right.
You see it?
Yeah, perfect, Dr. Vita. I'll come back to you. Quite very brilliant and elaborate explanation. I mean, I'm learning a lot, and I believe our listener out there is also learning. Dr. Obi, certain individuals we have highlighted that are at higher risk of, developing glaucoma include people of the black race, of course, you and I. Persons over 40, I'm not sure. Well, most likely you are, Dr. Obi. Well, Dr. Obi is in his early 20s. You're a very young man.
Don't worry.
Well, and of course, people with a family history of glaucoma, we can't change all of these three. You mentioned something about the use of steroid eye drops, or what is it? What was it you called it earlier?
Steroid eye drops.
Steroid eye drops and tablets. Exactly. Which can, help out. But then the long-term use of these steroid eye drops and tablets could also cause side effects which could lead to glaucoma, of course. Now, the other individuals who are at higher risk of developing glaucoma include individuals with short-sighted or long-sighted conditions. That includes me. Because I'm honestly getting scared, so I just want you to explain that. People with diabetes, hypertension, that you have successfully told when to take their medication to balance everything out, and of course people with previous eye injury. Some of these things can be controlled, but the others can't. For instance, who have diabetes, they're already struggling with diabetes, they're already struggling with hypertension. People who have had an eye injury, they can't reverse the eye injury. So why is glaucoma, adding the already problematic situation that they have? How exactly can they manage themselves better? We have talked about hypertension, but how can they manage themselves better to ensure that this disease does not, compound on what they're already dealing with?
Good. Managing themselves better. Someone that had a previous eye injury, the way the eye is structured is that it has an inflow of fluid and then an outflow of the fluid. So if you had a previous eye injury, that affects the outflow, the pressure builds, all right? So, and that could also lead to the damage to the glaucoma that we are talking about. So, it goes back to what we've been saying, your continuous check with your doctor. Because at a point where the pressure is building, he picks it up and institutes measures to prevent glaucoma from developing. All right? And so that helps to alter that problem.
Now I understand you're not a nutritionist in the sense of it, but are there certain foods, certain perhaps health drinks or anything that anyone can take to, you know, help combat glaucoma? Because I am taking notes, and after now, I am certainly going to abide by some of the things that we have spoken here about here.
All right, fine and good. We encourage, with all health problems, we encourage healthy lifestyle. Nothing specifically apart from quit smoking. If you are quit doing, because even smoking, the oxidants it releases has a way of damaging the optic nerve head, which is like the wire connecting to the brain. So that's one. But again, if you look at the risk factors, hypertension and diabetes, that's also an area that, if well controlled with nutrition that you talked about, that will also reduce the incidence of glaucoma from occurring, right? Now, healthy lifestyle, exercise and all that, that helps to generally, not specifically glaucoma now. And then talking about the care of the good ocular health, green leafy veggies and fruits with good beta carotene like carrots, palm oil and all that. So we encourage all those because that help, they bring a lot of antioxidants that help the optic nerve head to sustain. But that is purely not for glaucoma. It is general ocular health and healthy lifestyle. Now, speaking about the refractive error you talked about a short while ago, we can't really say is a risk factor, like she said, which is not modifiable because most often than not, you are born with that. You know, your eye, the length of the eyeball is short, the length of the eyeball is long, but you may not be able to alter that except if you do some other procedures, which is not
some people might say
which is not the subject of today.
It's due to the use or overuse of electronics, screens and the rest, or overexposure to sunlight. You know, there are so many myths surrounding it.
In fact, if you want to talk about that, children are being encouraged in Asia now to play at least 2 hours outside to reduce myopia.
Wow.
Yes. So if you talk of sunscreen and all that, so there are so many things. This is a topic on its own. I don't want us to go into that.
Okay.
Yes.
So we don't digress so much.
Don't digress so much on the topic of today, which is glaucoma week. Yeah. So the myopia is associated with the open angle glaucoma, while the hyperopia, which is long-sighted, is associated with close-angle glaucoma. Yeah. So these are all different forms of refractive errors that one, as you see your doctor, you have your check, you are also examined for glaucoma, you know. So that on its own helps us to pick the insidious onset of glaucoma. So you don't really, we don't place so much emphasis on the risk factors, but we are asking people to go for screening at this time of the year because we know that if it is caught early, and treatment is suited, blindness from glaucoma is well managed, curbed, and people can live their healthy lifestyle till when the Lord calls them, right?
Yeah. Dr. Bito, we had mentioned people of the black race as having higher chances of developing glaucoma in their life, and also people above 40. Why exactly do black people, you know, or why are black people more susceptible to this, and why 40 years threshold?
Okay, interestingly, for black people, we have a certain genetic disposition.
Okay.
And that also explains why we may have more hypertension, we have more diabetes. Well, not exactly so much of diabetes. However, we have a lot of non-communicable disease burden in our population. There's not much we can do about it because that's just how we're made, and that's how we are.
Oh.
Yes. For the age of 40, it's over years and loads of studies. You know, when you study people over a 10-year period, over a 5-year period, and you see that a certain age back bracket is tending to present with these and these and these. So this is what studies have shown us. Yeah, but there's not much we can do about it. However, what we want is that, and what we are preaching and shouting about, is that please go get your eyes checked. Very key. Once every year, please. It's very important that you are seeing clearly, that you do not have any eye strain, that your eyes are not red, that you look perfect in health and your eye health is good. Doesn't necessarily take away the fact that this glaucoma, which is the silent thief for sight, may just be there. So please, it's only when we go in and have a proper check that we can actually know that, oh, this disease is here.
Has there been no medical research to ascertain why black people are more susceptible to this? Because I believe our people watching us right now and everyone who is listening to this conversation and hears that, oh, black people are more likely to develop glaucoma in their lives, will want to know why exactly. There has been a lot of research in different fields, even in you know, of course, the eye, ear, and whatever healthcare field. Yes. There have been researches, even in glaucoma. A lot of researchers, I mean, you have brilliantly laid out data upon data, yes, facts upon facts, but this particular one is of particular concern. Why are black people burdened with this disease?
We exhibit the gene that encrypts for glaucoma. Much more than the white people.
So it's our wiring.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. We've been made like that. And the creator chose to just put this one with us here. And he has put others with the Caucasians too. They have their own diseases based on their own genetic makeup. So this is ours. And the best way for us to handle it is to be aware, have the knowledge that it exists. It is not an arrow that has been sent our way.
From the village.
It is not village people. I don't know if you have guests who speak pidgin English.
Yes, of course. Please,
Them
Doctor.
no follow now. No be from village. Then carry the matter come. This matter of glaucoma, where they the eye, where they chop the wire, where connect the eye to the brain. Now, real serious matter. It go just cause say person no go just see wake up one day. No be say neighbor put anything for ground. You no step on anything. You no chop food where no good. The problem be say, as we dey black, so if it come, we get family people where they for our family, we get them, we fit get them. If we don't go chemist, go carry drug where we not suppose use, then they call them steroid. You they put them for your eye, say they cure Apollo. You no be doctor, you no go fit decide that one, it they cause glaucoma. Pressure high for the body, it they cause glaucoma. You can't get hypertension, you can't get diabetes on top. That one today, it they cause the problem for the glaucoma for the eye. Waiting we don't come here today, we say, we won't remind una, I beg. This 1 week where we did so, now free. For Umuahia, Abi na for Jigawa, Abi you dey for Sokoto. Even this Abuja where you dey so, we dey do am free. Walk into clinic where then they run by government. Even private people too, don't join hand with us. Say make we check within there our people eye, make we tell them, make them know. If we see them for the eye, we get waiting we feel give you. We go help control them. No be say you go take them 1 month, stop them. Now for life, we go to monitor the eye. We go to check the eye. We won't make you see, make you reach 90, make you reach 150. Now our dream be that. Now in make we come, they hustle for this station. They hustle for everywhere. Where microphone they shout. Please, make una hear this matter. Go check your eye today. It's free. Thank you.
Well, you have heard the message, and it wouldn't be completely out of line if we just end the discussion here, but we have just 10 minutes to wrap it up, so we'll have to split five minutes between the two kind doctors in the studio with us. Dr. Obi, I know you might not quite agree with certain data. You have stated that you don't really care about statistics. You only care about ensuring that every single Nigerian is checked for glaucoma, and then the ones who have it already are properly taken care of. You work with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, and of course the World Glaucoma Week you have quite a number of programs that you're running to ensure that you help individuals. Now, there is another data I want to drop, which I would just want you to react to. Now, in Nigeria, the Nigerian National Blindness and Visual Impairment Survey indicates that glaucoma accounts for about 16.7% of blindness cases, and it's the second of course, it's the second highest leading cause of blindness and leading cause of irreversible vision loss in the country. 1 in 5 patients do not know that they have this condition. These figures are not smiling, doctor. What is the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare doing beyond just the glaucoma week to ensure that this disease is handled, well, not entirely eradicated, because of course it's our wiring, but properly managed?
Good. Thank you very much. I'm happy you said that. I have to also clarify that I love statistics because we use it a lot. Okay. Policy making, planning, and everything. So I need to put that straight up. That's not that we don't use statistics, but all I was trying to make a case that, look, the statistics are there, but we urge people to go and do their annual eye check or do their exam, as the case may be, if they've not done that. All right. So coming to your question, we've done and we are still doing so much. One is are my principles. Yesterday, my Minister of State gave Dr. Isaac Salako, together with the Permanent Secretary, we are all at a ministerial press briefing. That is to show the commitment of the Nigerian government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to drive for us to reduce the blindness from glaucoma. So drive this 16.7% that we have in our data to something lower than that. All right. So, and one of the key things I've said, which maybe it wasn't picked up earlier, was that we have from my ministry a national toolkit for glaucoma management, a Nigerian toolkit.
Toolkit for self-use, or
no? I'm coming on that. I'm expanding on that. Okay, for specialists to use and to manage glaucoma. So it makes it a uniform thing for everyone managing glaucoma anywhere in the country. And based on that, again, we've gone further. Not only to have that toolkit, we've gone further to train people on that. So in the whole country, we have trained in every federal teaching hospital an ophthalmologist on the use of this toolkit in the whole country, every state of the country, I should say, together with the FCT. And they are doing this, they are doing marvelously well, because they are stepping down that toolkit all aside the other healthcare workers working alongside with them. So that has helped to ensure that this burden that we have of 16.7%. We've not done a recent survey. The survey you are quoting was done last in 2007. So, and that's over 2 decades, almost 2 decades now. So by the time we are doing another one, I'm sure with all the intervention the government is doing, it will seem to reduce. On the backdrop of that, like I said, we are also integrating primary eye care to primary healthcare system. All right, we've done in 16 states. And we're also activating 8 additional states, as it were, before the end of the year. So, and though the primary healthcare workers are not equipped to manage glaucoma, but they're equipped to recognize it and refer to the next level of care. And so what that helps is that the referral chain, the health system is being strengthened, and people who are not aware they have glaucoma are being managed, are being made to know that they have glaucoma, and also refer to that system. And so one of the things we are doing within the integration of primary eye care within the primary healthcare system is distribution of free reading glasses. Because if our knowledge, we know that people who are 40 years and above require reading glasses to help them navigate daily life. And so when they come to get those things, they are properly checked. And then if they are not qualified, or if the healthcare worker knows or feels he has glaucoma, is referred to the next level of care. And that creates a cycle that helps detect, manage, and reduce the blindness from glaucoma. So those are efforts the government is making to ensure that Nigerians don't get blind from glaucoma. And of course, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. And so we are gradually, intentionally making those efforts to make sure that Nigerians don't get in the web of this menace.
Now, Dr. Obi, just the last question thrown to you. How do you manage the shortage of hands at the moment, the entire concept of the Japa syndrome? We see medical professionals leaving the country in droves. How is the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare managing this well, especially in line with specialists who are trained to manage, eye conditions like glaucoma?
Good. So much about that. Of course, the Japa syndrome is a push and pull factor. There is also a brain drain and there is also a brain gain.
Yeah.
All right. So the brain gain has led to establishment of so many multi-specialist clinic hospitals that people from outside come into do. The brain drain is also real because people are living in droves. But then you could remember in the past few months, the Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health launched a migration policy centered around healthcare, which helps to ensure that those that have been trained, because truly speaking, training a specialist costs a lot. Yeah. So those that have been trained are retained within the system, also be able to train more people. Now, in addition to that, on the backdrop of that, there are considerations for tax shifting and tax sharing, where the specialist handles the most super specialized cases, and the those within the lower cadre tend to have things around, handle things that may not burden those at the teaching hospitals. But be that as it may, conversations around brain drain and all that and brain gain is something that is holistic and being looked about by the coordinating minister and the ministry in general, because we know that paucity of healthcare workers is something that is real all over the world, really, because the COVID showed us that everywhere in the world the health system is fragile. So what the government is doing in that line is addressing that through the migration policy, and also there are some welfare packages I know they are also doing about the renewed medic housing scheme, which is also trying to encourage medical doctors to own their own houses through the Federal Mortgage Bank. Yeah. So these are all aspects that the country is looking at to ensure that there is first of all, a brain gain, then retention of specialists within the system, so that those that are outside can also come back and help stabilize the system.
All right, quite very brilliant points, Dr. Bito. Let's also get your concluding thoughts concerning the outreach that is currently ongoing at the moment. How deep are you reaching the grassroots? Because I have done, reports or documentaries in certain communities, especially in Taraba State. There is a village called Mayondaga in the Sadrana local government area of the state, Mambila Plateau, and the only healthcare center in that community does not have as little as Panadol or paracetamol for headache. And this was just a couple of years ago. I don't know how the situation is like right now. And this is just one example out of several other villages that are almost out of reach. The only thing they have is a building, a few individuals who, assume the position of healthcare professionals who are not quite professional in their dealings. How do you reach such areas?
Okay, thank you so much. In fact, we are building a step at a time. There were moments when Wari did not have any specialized eye healthcare center. A local government in the FCT. Yeah. So we are going gradually. Most of the eye healthcare campaigns across the country are currently going on this week, and most of them in many of the cities in the state capitals. And we have some states where we are having multi-local government efforts to ensure that people are being screened. And that has started since Monday. I'm aware that our director here, Dr. Obimbam, was on Berkete Family, where he made sure that FCT occupants and people who live and work here were aware that we are doing something. Go to your nearest hospital, get checked. In most of the far northern communities, one of the biggest threats that we have is insecurity. And that's why you may not be seeing that specialists want to go there, ophthalmic nurses don't want to be there, optometrists don't want to go there. It's a survival thing. So these are things that we're calling on the government, which we know the government is working hard towards ensuring that security across the country is ensured. Yeah, so that we can have commercial activities, medical activities, academic activities, okay? So all of this affects infrastructural growth. So security is key. I want to end with two concepts.
Yeah.
The first is please, please, and please. When we have eye problems, something as small as a red eye, that's not the time to say, oh, go and borrow your neighbor's breast milk and drop into it. Or if I'm breastfeeding a child, I take the breast milk and put into the child's eye because the child has redness. This is a no-no. This is only going to damage the eye of the child or even the adult who is using the breast milk in their eye because of a red eye. Secondly, the use of urine. They say your early morning urine, put it in your eye when you have a red eye. Why not come to the nearest facility around you? You will be directed to where you will get care for the eye. Please, do not use urine in the eye. This is dangerous. Onion water, battery water, kafura, bitter leaf water, aloe vera, these are wrong. No, no, no. These are acidic chemicals that destroy the cornea within seconds. Please avoid the use of these substances in the eye. If during this screening you have been screened and they say, oh, we can see that there's glaucoma in your eye, that's not the end of the world. That's a beautiful beginning because knowledge has equipped us to help you. You are now empowered to know what to do about your eyes. So you may be placed on eye drops. Please don't use it for a short period and say it's going away. Why? Because you may have gone to a prophet or you've gone to your imam and they have prayed and said, this thing they gave you is wrong. This disease is not there. If the disease was already picked by the hospital, come back. If prayers have been done, if deliverances have been done, come, let us certify that, oh, truly there's no problem in this eye. However, if that disease is still in the eye, please use your eye drops. Don't throw them away because a spiritual leader has said you should throw your drugs away. Don't do that. Please come to us. I've had several patients come back blind because they said someone prayed and they dropped their medications. This is a genuine plea to Nigerians across the universe. Anybody that's listening to us, please do not throw away your medications if you have been found to have glaucoma during this week. And then the last thing, if for any reason we are in the category of people who are already blind from glaucoma, that's still not the end of the world. We are ministering to you as well. In fact, that's why we are set up. We are set up for those who can see, those who are partially blind, and those who are blind. Please, we have resources that can help you to reintegrate you into society. That's not the end. Don't be a burden to another person. We have the ministry here who is in charge of, and you also have collaborations with the Disabled People's Commission. So please, that's what we do. So it's an all-encompassing boat for everybody. And the last thing I want to say is, if we are saying that there is no cure for this disease, why bother? Let me tell you why to bother. Because if Dr. Chimeze Obimbam and I are on the same trip, and we are both located in, let me say, Calabar, and we are supposed to go to Sokoto, he says he wants to go by flight, I choose to go by road. So two of us actually have glaucoma, and Sokoto is the destination, which is blindness, because we can't cure the disease. I want you to understand this. He's taking a flight, meaning that he's not going to take his medications. He's okay. He wants to get to blindness faster. I, on the other hand, I don't mind. I'm taking my drugs. I'm buying. Some days I don't have. Some days I have to struggle. Some days I have to cross the Benue River. The stress is a lot. I'm stressing, but I'm having my vision. And I may not even reach Sokoto because my lifetime, I may see for the lifetime and not get there. Please, thank you so much for this time, Nigerians. We love you.
Dr. Vito, I think I should stand up so you sit here because you have more than educated all of us in the studio. Thank you so much. Wonderful having you two in the studio. I learned a lot, and I'm sure people out there also learned so much. Well, you've heard it all from the two kind doctors in the studio. I've been speaking to Dr. Sewese Bito, who is a consultant ophthalmic surgeon, a neuro-ophthalmologist and public healthcare ophthalmologist, Department of Ophthalmology, Federal Medical Center, Abuja, and of course, Dr. Chimezie Obingbam, who is Director, National Eye, Ear and Sensory Functions Health Program, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. Well, this is the Merchant Morning Express. At the top of the hour, our Uyo studios will pick it up with ADBN Sports. My name is Chijioke Okafo. Good morning, Nigeria.
For your news on the go, ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various